Man, these are so tight, I wonder if I can play these. Sounds pretty good. Hey, Tony and Corey here, and we're back in the studio where we're gonna show you how we assembled this amazing rail system by RailFX. It's their Oasis line of cable and picket railing.
And you're gonna get to see that right now.
All right, so today we are gonna build two different rail types, all out of the same parts from the RailFX Oasis line.
Yeah, we're gonna have a picket section here and a cable rail section there. And you're gonna get to see how all of those parts and pieces work together, interchangeable, the same system, two different looks.
It's super easy, so the first thing we're gonna start with is the cable. And step one, we need to get these posts set.
Yeah.
All right, so the first thing Tony and I did was we set all of our posts, we measured in and we squared them up. We just want to make sure they're all the same reveal from each corner. So now what we're gonna do is set each post. We're gonna use some headlocks, but it's important to note on the blocking. These posts need to have a solid base, and you need to make sure that the blocking you have installed in your deck is at least 3.5 inches, not including the decking. So when you're installing your blocking, you can use a 4x or
triple 2x,
but you want to put that in there in such a way that everything is solid. So we used 4x blocking for this application. So we're gonna use these 5-inch headlocks. So I'm gonna pre-drill and we're gonna install our first one here. I'm gonna do this, ready?
Yep.
That's not going anywhere. All right, Tony, we got all the posts put down. We've made sure they're plumb, which is important. The next important step is to put on these metal post skirts. And we're told it is very important to put these on before you forget and put the railing on. Because if you put the railing on, you can't put the skirt on. All right, so we need to install these brackets. And these posts are great because they already come pre-drilled. So there's 2 holes right here, there, over there. We're just gonna screw these right to the post.
Can't do that wrong.
What I love about this system, Tony, is it comes with everything you need in the bag.
Including a bit to drive the screws.
So for this installation, we're actually gonna use our drill driver. When you're screwing stainless steel into aluminum, if you use an impactor, you have the chance of spinning the head off because stainless steel is really soft. And when you have 2 dissimilar metals, that can happen. So we're gonna set the clutch on this really low, drive it in, and the clutch on the drill will stop when it gets to that point where before it breaks the head off.
Okay, the next thing we're gonna do, Corey, is we're gonna cut the top rail to go in. But instead of measuring just between the posts and taking that measurement, we need to subtract for the screw head and also that bit of bracket right there, which I think is about 5/8 of an inch.
Yeah, it's 5/16 on either side, double that, 5/8. So whatever our dimension is, minus 5/8.
This is 38 3/4 minus 5/8. I think we cut it at 38 even. I have put a little piece of tape on the end. This is 2 parts what's here. There's a part inside there that moves back and forth and we want to cut them at the same time. So I used a little piece of tape to tape them together.
Awesome, nice job. All right, now this top rail comes with these
collars.
Yeah, covers, spacers. So we're gonna put that over here on the slide them on both ends before we install it. Just like that. And then this goes down in here like so. Just like that.
Just like that.
All right, Tony, let's do this side. 64 minus 3/4.
63 1/4.
63 1/4. All right, Tony, for this one, we're actually gonna install this and then pull it back out, so we don't have to put our brackets on quite yet. All right, so what we need to do now is measure half of this distance because this is over 4 feet. Anything over 4 feet, you need to use an intermediate support brace. It's basically a post that goes here that has pre-drilled holes in it. What that does is it prevents your cables from being spread apart further than 4 inches, which is code.
We also want to make sure that the intermediate brace lines up with the cable. So we can see that the holes in this post are 3 inches from the edge of the deck. So we want to make a mark right here at 3 inches so we know how far back to put it as well.
Now go ahead and cut that off at that line.
Oh, bracket cover.
All right, so we've got everything installed, but you'll notice that the center piece can move back and forth. There are some pre-drilled holes on the brackets down on each end, so we're gonna fasten this to the bracket and then it will no longer move back and forth. Now, but we need to make sure it's plumb. So we're gonna use our level. We're gonna hold that on there just like that. We're gonna use these T25s. Looking good right there, Tone. So even though this side doesn't have an intermediate cable brace, this bottom piece in here can still slide back and forth. So we're gonna center that in there and use the same screws on both sides. All right, we've got everything installed. Now we are ready for cable. You wanna hand me that box of cable? Easy. In each box comes everything we need to run each run of cable. Every bag is packaged with all of the hardware and the cable that we need. So we just need to open these up and get them all sorted together. We're gonna dump all the hardware into one big bin, make it easy for us later.
I'm being very careful not to unwind this too quickly, because if you're not careful, it can pop into a big rat's nest, and we don't want that.
All right, Tony, all of these cables come pre-fitted with this threaded piece of stainless steel swedged on the end. So we have all of our hardware dumped into this little bucket here, and what I've done is pulled out these brass nuts, this little washer, and this little bushing. And we need to put these on every single one of these, just like this. You're gonna put this with that smaller diameter down.
Got it.
Then the washer,
okay.
And we're gonna thread this nut on a couple times. And then we're gonna fish it through each one of these all the way around, and then we'll go from there.
Okay.
All right, now we need to get this cable through this corner post. There's a hole drilled on this side and one on this side. And what makes this system unique is that you don't have to stop and then restart with new hardware. So what we're gonna do is kind of put a little bit of a bend in the end of this, and this will allow us to fish from one to the other side. I might have to stand up on the deck and do this. All right, the next part of this install is we're gonna be inserting this post down through the middle of this post. And this is kind of the magic ingredient that allows us to use the cable without putting in extra brackets on each individual post. It just wraps around here and goes in one hole, out the other.
The first trick is to take this cable that we've got in here and sort of create a loop inside of the post. And so you're just pulling that slack and pushing it back inside the post, creating a loop inside there, which will allow us to put the post behind it.
All right, so now we're going to install these stainless steel pull lock fittings. They work in such a manner where the cable goes through one way, but it will not come out the other way. We're going to slide these over each cable clockwise as we push. Just go all the way up to here and slide right into that hole. Now, there's one thing to keep in mind with these is this kit comes with tons of different parts. It's universal, so you can use it in so many different kits. This particular one, there's a little black washer, and in this application, that black washer needs to be on there. So I'm gonna pull these cables hand tight as hard as I can, but But what we want to make sure is where Tony's at, the other end of that cable where there's that bushing, that needs to be seated flat on the post. So Tony's going to be making sure that's flat as I'm pulling. Ready?
Ready.
All right, so for the next part of this process, we're going to be using what's called a tensioning block. Now, all it is a protector for the post. We're going to put this over the post, and then we're going to grab a pair of pliers, and that allows us to grab onto each cable, and then we're going to pull it as tight as we can, and we're going to get these cables super tight before we even go to the actual tensioning process. All right, in our installation kit comes a little Allen key and a little baby wrench. And what this is gonna allow us to do is tighten each one of these while holding the cable from spinning. On each one of the ends of the fitting fits this little Allen, and then our wrench will be able to tighten up the bolt around it. So it's important to start in the middle. We're gonna start in the middle, go to the top, the next one down, next one up, next one down. As we're gonna tension from the middle outward. And that'll allow us to make sure everything's tightened evenly across, because as we tighten this thing up, everything is going to kind of try to move in. All right, so the next part in this process is pretty easy. The kit comes with a cutoff wheel. You can put in any drill. We put it in our little Makita drill driver, and we're going to be cutting each cable, all the excess off, so then we can put a cap over the end.
Right up tight to that little shoulder of that insert that's there.
That's right.
Not leaving any hanging out.
So I'm gonna brace myself here against this post because I don't want to get all squirrely. All right, the very last thing is to put the cap on the end. And these are easy, they just snap on, just like that.
All right, Corey, cable rail portion done. This little section is going to be pickets. And again, this is all from the same line of rail. So what's our first move here?
So now we need to measure and cut our top rail. And the top rail comes in two pieces. There's this piece that slides into the cap. So we've slid this out so that we can hold it up here, and you can see what we'll need to do is cut both ends. If we cut just one end, we might be left with one post, one picket that's too close to one side, and it will look a little silly. So what we're gonna do is find out where our center line is. So we'll grab that tape measure.
There you go.
So we're 39 inches. So half of 39 is 19 and a half.
Correct, 19 and a half.
So I think what we need to do is pull this down. We'll put a piece of tape over here. We'll measure our exact center line in between these two. And then that'll give us our reference point for where we need to cut. And we're gonna be cutting this whole thing. So because this thing slides back and forth, we're gonna put a piece of tape over both ends so this doesn't slide at all. We want this to be one piece when we cut it. Okay, so now we need to cut the bottom rail. And this is also a two-piece, so we're gonna put some tape over it to hold it together. Now what we need to do is do the same measurements we did with the bottom rail. We're gonna split the difference between these two. We'll put a piece of tape there. So now what I'm gonna do is take our measurement, which is 39, and we're just gonna subtract 1/8 of an inch. That's because the brackets on the bottom are different, and we just need it to fit between the posts. So I'm gonna take 39 divided by 2,
19 and a half.
19 and a half, minus a 16th. I'm gonna measure over 19 and 7/16, 38 and 7/8. All right, Tony, we're gonna pre-assemble our rail section. And it's super easy. All we have to do is press fit our pickets into our bottom rail and top rail. And you'll see how that works here because this rail system is designed to pinch the pickets in place.
Yeah, I can see that.
So we're just gonna take these, no cutting necessary, pop that down like this.
Oh, nice tight fit.
All right, that was pretty easy. Now
Yeah.
we just need to take the top rail section and assemble it to the bottom half.
Gonna go on the same way, basically. We just have to start at one end
Yep.
and work our way over, huh?
Yep, kind of make sure they're lined up. All right, that was easy. So now we just need to spin our deck back around, install our top cap, and make sure we get our brackets on first.
Okay.
Our bottom rail brackets slide on first. And what there is there's two angles here. There's one side that goes this way, and you can see the holes are closer together on the back side. That's the front side, that's where the screws go in. And that's so when you're putting your drill bit in, you're not getting too close to the bottom rail. So we're gonna slide that on like that, and then we have to slide these on. These are the bracket covers, go like that. And now we just drop it in. Good?
I'm good.
You know, Tony, this thing turned out great. I love this RailFX Oasis line. The cable and the Picket looks really good together, and it was so easy to install.
Yeah, I'm impressed with the design of this product, how easy it was to go from step to step and get installed. And at the end, it looks classy.
Yeah.
Very nice rail.
Ingenuity they put into the design of this railing has made it affordable for almost anybody, and any DIY weekend warrior can handle it.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for watching. Hope you found something interesting in this video. Leave a like and subscribe down below. If you got any questions, you can also leave those there in the comment section. We'll see you next time.